The decision to appoint the 67-year-old struggle veteran Bushy Maape was formally announced by the ANC Interim Provincial Committee in Mahikeng last week. The IPC has been calling for the removal of Mokgoro, who is accused of not taking instructions from the party. Although there is some opposition to Maape's appointment, the ANC Alliance partners in the province have welcomed the move. The SACP says those opposing his appointment are demonstrating ill discipline.
In the Northwest, there's a high level of ill discipline amongst ANC members. But number two, the ANC in the Northwest is highly infiltrated. There are elements that are in the ANC that works against the agenda of the ANC of pushing forward the National Democratic Revolution.
Labour Federation COSATU believes Maape will be able to stabilize the province and fast-track service delivery.
We are welcoming the Premier-elect. We are wishing him well. We hope that he will be able to stabilize the province, able to deal with issues that are bedeviling this province of lack of service delivery and poor level of service of municipalities.
Civic organization Sanko says Maape must reshuffle the provincial cabinet as soon as he takes up his duties.
He must make sure that as soon as he gets into the office, that's a cabinet reshuffle, because you can't work with people that you wouldn't know whether they would move with the speed that you would have to deal with, considering that there are so many outstanding or backlog of incomplete projects that really needs people with capacity.
Premier Mokgoro has already indicated that he will hand in his resignation letter this week after meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa. Patrick Dintwa, SABC News Mahikeng.
And we speak now with the embattled Northwest Premier Job Mokgoro. A very good evening to you, sir, and thank you so much for speaking to us this evening.
Good evening, Chabisham, and good evening to the viewers.
So is it correct to say you are still yet to resign and this will happen upon meeting the President?
Yes, but I've already stated very clearly that I will be resigning.
Mm-hmm. So what does this mean? Do you accept the reasons that you find yourself in this position, and why is it important for you to meet the President? Because you have said that it's an opportunity to get into the nitty-gritties, but the horse has already bolted, so to speak.
Well, firstly, the question of acceptance, I think I've made it very clear that this deployment is the ANC's deployment, and the ANC is at liberty to deploy and to reverse the deployment. And I knew this from day one, and that is why right from the outset, I have indicated my willingness to resign.
Mm-hmm. So if that is the case, how then true are reports saying that you want an apology before you leave office?
Well, it is simply because throughout this entire saga, the principle of natural justice has never been respected. There have been all kinds of accusations out there in the media space when the well-known principles and approach to matters such as these within the ANC historically are that these matters are held within the African National Congress as an organization, instead of the first announcement being made public without the person or persons affected being given the opportunity to respond. It is really something that is contrary to what we have come to know as the way in which the ANC does things.
Okay, so let's talk about then the reasons behind why you find yourself in this position, resigning, and some of them include reports stating that more than 75 million rand have been lost due to corruption in your office and that the monies are irrecoverable. irrecoverable. What are your thoughts on this? Do you deny that you were ineffective as a premier? I mean, you yourself have been quoted as saying that your position has somehow been made possible. Your executive council could not function the way you would have liked to.
Well, again, if I could just go back to the Audi Ultram Partem rules, one would have expected that journalists would know better. I think it is irresponsible journalism for this report to have gone out there without the journalists involved getting the other side. This is a matter of successor in title. It is something that happened within the fifth administration, where there was a major project which we discontinued when I got in. And the issues that are involved really, as I said, should be looked at and understood within the notion of successor in title.
So then let's talk about the facts then, Mr. Mokgoro. Do you deny these claims that two of your executives were earning inordinately higher salaries than they should have, two of your chief directors, and that they face misconduct charges involving millions of rands, and that some of the administrators in your office were said to have questionable credentials?
Well, let me deal with the matter of the two senior administrators. The one has been expelled. They both went through disciplinary processes. And as a result of the disciplinary processes, the one has been dismissed. The second one was not found guilty and has since returned to work. And that is the law of the country. They are also entitled to their constitutional rights, or he is entitled to his constitutional rights. So I really don't know what it is that we're talking about here.
When you say you don't know, as I revert to my original question, let's talk about facts versus fiction, which is what you pointed out. You believe some of these reports that make these claims are. So you're saying one person has indeed been let go of and one is back at work. The other question was about administrators who have questionable credentials. You are in a position to, of course, clarify some of these reports, and this is what I'm asking you to do.
Could you please clarify that, because I really don't know what it is you're referring to?
So these reports that you say you're really surprised that journalists would write some of these things, talking about your poor performance in totality, some of these allegations are about the questionable credentials of some of your administrators. What I'm asking you is, do you deny these allegations?
I say, Tsebiso, the question is very unclear. I mean, we have thousands of managers, administrators. Who are these administrators with questionable integrity?
Okay.
In all fairness to myself, so that I can respond appropriately.
Okay, so then because we have run out of time, and there are two important questions that I want to ask. You say you are still intending to resign. Do you still have an ultimatum with regards to an apology being made to you about some of these reports questioning your performance, which has been labeled as poor? Do you still expect that to happen? And what, to your view, must happen next? Is there a council that must sit first before the next order of business continues?
Let's make matters very clear. I don't know how many times I should say it. I have said at the outset, I have accepted that I should resign. That's the first thing. Secondly, it's just a pity you don't have time. On the 16th of March this year, I gave an extensive report on our progress, both in terms of governance as well as service delivery, to the ad hoc committee of the NCOP. And the people who make allegations would, in all probability, have been in the audiences. In fact, when you report to the audience, you are reporting to the entirety of South Africa. I've reported extensively. The reports are here, Tsebiso. I am prepared to provide these reports to any of the remaining doubting Thomases. I honestly do not know what people refer to when they say there are no service delivery. There has not been any service delivery. I've reported on that, but I have also taken our performance in regards to SOPA 2020, State of the Province Address 2020, where once more we extensively report on the projects that have been completed. Again, I have record thereof. I really don't know what people are talking about, quite frankly.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking to us. Job Mokgoro, who is the Northwest Premier, as we still speak, he says he will indeed resign and he is set to meet with President Cyril Ramaphosa.